He's like, my whole restaurant is the whole plaza. So I thought the same way. I'm like, I'm gonna put a restaurant right here because La Cosecha was a small little coffee shop called Café Soleil, and it was 2 public restrooms, and I turned it into that big vision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was my thought is that whole plaza was my dining room. We were speaking earlier about, what the dish was that my mother would make for me that just made me fall in love with each and every moment I had that dish. It was called carne con chile, and it's just a basic dish. But my mother would put all her love and soul into it. That this is how she would make me happy. Because she said, mijo, ¿qué quieres comer? I said, carne con chile. Do I consider myself a chef? Yes, even before I went to school. Am I a chef every day? No, because I can't be in the kitchen all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I love cooking. I love presenting dishes that represent me and my culture, my mother, my call it my upbringing. I don't want to say my country because I don't live there.
Yeah.
But my roots.
Yes.
Right? This is my country. I live here.
Yeah.
But I love to showcase that.
All right, man. Legacy Lounge. Sometimes people want to talk.
We have an incredible guest here.
What's up, brother?
The definition of the Legacy Lounge is the stuff that he's putting together. He's a great community leader. His story is amazing.
55?
Episode
No, it's 1146.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a special one, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the incredible Ernesto Delgado in the Legacy Lounge. Ernesto, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for that introduction.
Man, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not to cut you off, but and by the way, we have the connector, the influencer,
The least important person here.
the one that if anyone in Sacramento doesn't know this man's name, we got Chad Hodges. Thank you so much for helping us bridge this. By the way,
I'm so happy he's here. This is awesome. Yeah.
Incredible.
So I'm a 4th generation Sacramentan. Renee's from Oakland. You moved to Sacramento.
98 is when I
98.
came up to Sacramento State. So,
But I'm telling you, like, I remember being a kid, and I might get this wrong, but I'm sure I'm somewhat accurate. 13, 14 years old, having my birthday dinners at Ernesto's. And, I mean, it's just insane to see the journey that you've been on, the culinary journey in this city of Sacramento. And not to be long-winded, but we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary of this podcast about 3 to 4 months ago. And when we started this podcast, we were renting space in Rancho Cordova. Other people were shooting stuff there. And then one day I saw Micah Baginski and Sam Allen post this incredible building. I knew that they bought this land and then they started building on it eventually. But they bought this land during COVID, and then COVID just kind of messed everything up. They had to, put a pause on construction. But once I saw the lease go up for this space, I was like, I sent it to Rene. I'm like, bro, we have to bring our podcast studio to this incredible space. And Micah was telling me, he's like, yeah, well, right below you, Ernesto is going to be opening up one of his mini restaurants called Oaxaca. I was like, dude, like, sold, like just sold. And we just had lunch for the people listening. We just had this incredible 5, 6, 7 course lunch that was phenomenal downstairs with Ernesto. Got to eat just incredible traditional Oaxacan cuisine, sipping mezcal, cocktails, and was letting you know, like, we were a part of the journey of Oaxaca because we got to hear the construction the entire time.
Yeah.
We got to hear the jackhammers, and we got to hear, we're like, passing Ernesto being like, all right, when's it going to be? Or we're going to be opening in June or July, So anyways, welcome to the studio, Ernesto Delgado.
Thank you. What amazing introduction. I do have to clarify, Ernesto's is another Ernesto. But I have Mayahuel on 12th and K. But I work with Ernesto's Mexican food. I work with Zocalo. I help develop Zocalo as well. But I'm not that Ernesto. I'm another Ernesto.
So were you related to that or no?
I worked there.
Okay,
I
got
worked
it.
there,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, so you
Yes.
worked there.
Yes.
What was your very first restaurant that you opened in Sacramento?
In Sacramento, my first restaurant I opened where there I was part of my vision, part owner. It was called El Patron Bar and Grill on Folsom Boulevard by Sac
yes.
State.
Yeah.
Yes.
I live off of La Riviera. I went to Sac State, so I drove by. It's called the original Sambo's. It was a
Yeah.
breakfast joint. Me and my partner really took that space and turned it over, and ever since then I've been, bitten by that bug, the bee, the passion, and I like to call it's a passion and a curse because I love what I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's just something that expresses who I am.
Amazing.
It is not an easy industry, and that's a kind way to say it. You being able to get into this space and continuing to grow and grow and grow. Tell us a little bit about that journey in the beginning when you opened that first one. Did you always see yourself continuing to grow? Was it just a passion to bring food and experience to people? Just give us a little background on how it started and how this vision began to grow.
Truly, I think it's about just, migrating to this country, at 6 years old, and then coming to the point where I actually became to a point where I actually almost hated my culture,
Wow.
and then you come to a point where you just love your culture. You start growing up, and you start figuring out you want to learn who you are and where you come from, and I became infatuated with my culture. Where growing up, elementary school, middle school, high school, obviously, it was a different time. So it wasn't tequila, Mexican food, and Mexican culture wasn't as appreciated as it
For
is
sure.
today.
For sure.
But growing up, I just started realizing how amazing my culture, my food, and truly how much I loved it, how much I enjoyed it. And I wanted everyone to experience it. And I realized, even myself, that I didn't appreciate what I had at home. My mother's cooking, our life, or our culture, and I wanted to. First, I think my whole reason of becoming a restaurant and food entrepreneur, funny because entrepreneur a long time ago wasn't, it's like, I want to say, people want to hear me say chef, restaurateur, but I've come to believe that I'm a designer first because I went to school to become a designer, Sac State. And it's amazing because I like to say this statement: the designer made me an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur made me a restaurateur, the restaurateur made me the chef that I am, and then the chef made me an artist in creating everything I do. So every restaurant is different, has a different story to tell. But in the end, I believe I'm an artist because I even like to say more than an artist, I'm a storyteller. I like to tell the story of my culture. I like to exhibit and express different parts of my culture. And what's it all for is to elevate my culture, to elevate the perception that we, even as Mexicanos, have of our own culture, right? Is that I remember opening Mayahuel, and people would walk in and say, "This isn't a Mexican restaurant." I'm like, "Why not?" They would say, "It's too beautiful." I'm like,
What?
Oh, wow.
right?
That's-
Or just, things like that. Or, because it truly wasn't the typical Mexican restaurant
Correct.
that we were used to. A
Correct.
taqueria. We all love taquerias. We all love tacos. We all love the fast, quick, the free chips and salsa. But I was the first to charge for chips and salsa, right?
Uh-huh.
Why did I charge for them? Because I wanted to make the best chips and salsa ever. $3 for chips and salsa, all you can eat, not a big cost. But that was the business side of me.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
But it was all about elevating the perception of our culture and bringing everything that I love to everyone's eyes, to everyone's palates. My mother's cooking was truly what did it for me. And that's what I wanted to do for everyone else.
Well said.
That statement, like I didn't want to jump in, but I just got taken back by how you just described your path. Absolutely amazing. And I don't want to get off topic of your mother and her influence on you. We just had a dish downstairs that blew me away. And you said, that's my mom. Can you please help me relive what I just blew me away downstairs on that plate in particular?
Okay, what was the name of the dish, and then take it from there?
That dish is referred to as a entomatado. It's basically means, the addition of tomatoes.
Yes.
It's like you add tomatoes to a dish. And we were speaking earlier about, what the dish was that my mother would make for me that just made me fall in love with each and every moment I had that dish. It was called carne con chile, and it's just a basic dish. But my mother would put all her love and soul into it. This is how she would make me happy. Because she said, mijo, ¿qué quieres comer? I said, carne con chile.
Creatures of habit, right? We like what we like, yeah.
But that was the everyday dish. But then on special occasions, she would say, mijo, what would you like? And I would say, turkey and mole. Because that was our Thanksgiving. She would make mole is a celebratory dish. You're only supposed to have that on a Sunday.
Wow.
At downstairs, you can have it
Every day. Yeah, exactly.
But she would make, for Thanksgiving, we all love our cranberry sauce and, the stuffing and all that. But my mother found a way to include our culture in it. And now it's like, that was one of my favorite dishes that she would make. It was three. It was carne con chile, was the everyday. And then I call it turkey and mole because it's kind of that. It was turkey is obviously saying in English, not pavo con mole.
Yeah.
A more traditionalist or would say pavo con mole, but I like to say turkey and mole because it was a American tradition. And we brought in the mole sauce, the Spanish rice, mixed it with the,
Cultural fusion.
Yeah, it's an amazing dish. And one of the other ones was the seafood dish, kind of like the cupino, the Italian dish.
Yes. Oh,
but
yeah.
it's
Oh,
Yeah.
Cipino.
Cipino,
Yeah.
yeah. And my mom, or actually I should say our state in Mexico is called caldo miche. It's a similar dish where it's just as amazing with all the different seafoods. But caldo miche is short for caldo de Michoacán, is the state where I'm from. And it's just delicious. I mean, that was one of my other favorites. So my mother would ask, and I would go between those three. But the entomatado from downstairs at Oaxaca truly reminds me of that dish that my mom would make. And it's a little different, but
It was epic.
Epic.
He's
Absolutely.
underselling it.
Melt
It was
in your
epic.
mouth. Amazing.
Yeah,
It was very good.
For the listeners, I mean, it's funny because as you're like talking, I was just like daydreaming a little bit about you're in a room full of people that love food, obviously.
For sure.
and I'm not just saying this. This is a fact. You can take this to the bank. Mexican food has always been my number one. When I'm feeling good, but also when I'm feeling bad. Hence, when I'm like, I have a pretty bad hangover, and I need something to fix this, and I need to be comforted. It's like a really good pozole with some tacos, maybe some menudo. You know what I mean? Like some incredible food. But this dish that you're describing downstairs, you had what were the tacos with the consomme? Was it the barbacoa?
Yeah, barbacoa.
So barbacoa, which
That
was
a good
phenomenal.
Start. That's how I started. Yeah,
Phenomenal. And then we had the
beef tongue tacos.
The beef tongue.
Tacos de lengua.
And that's when when we had the beef tongue, that's when
That was the first
I was
one.
trying to kiss you.
Yes.
On the cheek.
But you didn't.
I
I
did.
offered my cheek.
I know, man. I know.
So the beef tongue, I went to order another beef tongue set of tacos, and Ernesto's
no.
like, no,
Stopped you.
just chill, just chill.
You try
And then that dish came out. Now it was bone in, huge beef bone, perfect amount of fat, but you pull that off of the bone,
and it melted.
and it just melted. And I think what helps make that dish was the tomatoes and the onions
Yes,
that
it's,
marinate into that beef. And then just the perfect juicy taco. I will say right now that if this is what Oaxaca is, your restaurant downstairs, the people listening are going to be in for a treat because it was phenomenal.
How about the tlayuda?
That.
Oh yeah. That to me was like, and I'd say this with all respect, okay? That's what I call stoner food.
Yeah.
That's somebody that smokes a little bit of weed. You know what I mean?
And get the munchies.
I mean, that was munchie
That's
food.
what it is.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's traditional Oaxacan street food.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted to bring the tlayuda is because it's a very common, simple dish, snack even that people have on the streets of Oaxaca all day long. It's morning, day, night. Very much a late night food. You saw it; it almost looks like a pizza.
Yeah.
Right? And it's delicious, but.
And not deep fried, which I thought was really
Yes,
interesting.
it's not deep fried. The
How did you
tortilla,
how did they do it?
it's basically toasted,
Toasted.
on
Toasted,
open
there you go.
fire.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, we do a little different in a restaurant environment, but it's something new that I don't know. Have any of you had
That was
a
my first time.
tlayuda before?
Never.
That
It
was my
sounds.
first time.
Never.
Go ahead.
And it's amazing that Oaxacan cuisine has always not been very prominent, and I think that's my goal, my purpose is to exhibit all parts of Mexico, all the different foods and the different cultures. There's so many cultures within the Mexican culture that I love to tell. And I love to tell the history of the dishes and how they, come about because I study it I think it makes the dish more interesting, The entomatado, I referenced downstairs that if you ever see a caldo de res, it's basically a beef stew. And it's delicious. But when you pull out the meat, it's similar to what you had
Yes.
downstairs, but in a sauce.
Yes.
But you saw how it just falls off the bone.
Yes. Big time.
And it's amazing when we first made this dish, it looked nothing like that. And I'm like, no, it's missing something. It's missing.
That's the artist in you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
kept working on it. We kept working on it. And I said, and then finally we're like, no, it needs to have this. And finally I figured out, I just thought back to my mom and how she would make me the caldo de res.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make caldo de res, you want the bone because it gives the stock
Flavor.
Yes.
flavor, and that is what gives that. You saw that the sauce is very, there's a lot of liquid in there, but it has an intense of the stock,
Yeah.
and then it just falls off the bone, and you're welcome to eat it with the fork and the rice and beans, but you have the tortillas there to eat it as a taco if you want. But that's how I would eat my stew.
Yeah.
So that's how I made the connection. I said, no, my mother would, do this. So I changed the dish to this. And that's how I make my connections to my mother and my culture by referencing what I grew up with. But as you tasted, that dish is phenomenal. When I
Yeah.
come here to this restaurant, I start with the tacos de lengua.
Mm-hmm.
We move on to the tlayuda,
Mhm.
and then we each have our own dish. I have the entomatado, and my lady has the mole.
Yeah. Incredible.
And it's delicious.
Who I'm just curious. So the design sounds like is you. I also, in like pecking order, you have design, so the concept of the restaurant, the design aspect, but who is the one responsible for picking out every single thing that goes on the menu? Is that like split up? Can you kind of dive into like the responsibilities that you play into that, or what you delegate?
When I love to speak on quotes, I think, and to help express myself and explain. And for some reason, it came to mind: good, bad, or great. It's my fault.
I like it.
You know, people say, "Who built this restaurant?"
The buck stops with you.
Exactly.
In a sense, right? It's like I'm behind every detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I work with teams, but I feel that my training, my love for my culture, you know, the design training, and I have to say, I give shouts out to my professor at Sac State all the time. Her name is Gwen Amos. I've been speaking to my mother. I always love to say her name out loud, Elvira Delgado. She's up in the skies with us. She blesses me with everything I do because I reference her all the time. But I like to say my professor gave me my eyes, you know, and I may not be, you know, responsible for every single detail, but I touch everything. You know, it's like I was explaining to someone about building a restaurant, and I said from 3 feet under to the ceiling and
Yeah.
above the roof, because there's plumbing,
Yeah.
you know, 3 feet under. So I get involved with the build outs. I'm the guy that builds the restaurant. I'm the guy that creates the menu. I'm the guy that designs the restaurants. I'm the guy that pushes every day. I'm the guy that literally, you know, does not sleep and tries to figure out a solution to every problem that we all know every project has.
Yeah.
Every single time.
But the one good thing is I never give up. I always execute. As long as it may take, as much as it may cost, I will not give up.
So this is
Incredible.
this is fascinating to me
Incredible.
because maybe I'm wrong here, but like in most traditional senses, like for example, there's a TV show that my fiance and I have become quite addicted to. It's called The Bear, and it's
Love
a
it.
really love it, right?
Love
It's a
that
great,
show.
right? The Bear
I
is
binge
good.
every season. Yeah.
So I think this is traditional where you have a chef. And a chef, that's kind of where it starts. It starts off with the chef. And then the chef has this concept for a restaurant. And then he goes about his business opening a restaurant. So are you a chef? Like, do you consider yourself a chef? Like,
So, you know, earlier when I said, because people ask me this question all the time,
Yeah.
right? They say, hey, dude, are you a restaurateur? Are you a chef? Are you, hey, chef? Or,
Yes.
hey, can I call you chef?
yeah.
Right? And they say,
Mogul.
you know,
Yeah. Yes.
are you an entrepreneur? And I've struggled with that. I've struggled with that myself because, you know, in school we were taught, you know, that we work for companies that have identity crisis, we call it, in design terms. And as a designer, you have to figure out who they are and how to best represent themselves, right? Here in this case, you're the Legacy Lounge. So hopefully that expresses what you guys do, who you are in the most minimalist way, but really suggest who you are, what you represent, and where you want to go.
Yes.
But I believe that as a designer, it has led me to this chaotic love for everything. Right? It's like, but I have decided to really focus on the culture and food side of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's a restaurant, a mezcaleria, everything's related around that entrepreneurial food. Maybe sometimes I thought that maybe a food entrepreneur is a little bit better, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I grew up working in restaurants
Mm.
since I was 14. And I've become, I love saying that I'm a host. I love to say that I'm an expert in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And at age, I don't know, it was at age 50, I decided, I graduated from the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America in Santa Elena.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to school
wow.
with 18 to 26-year-olds,
Yeah.
2-year program.
Yeah.
Drove to Santa Elena, hour and 45 minutes there,
Yep.
hour and 45 minutes back for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And you were 50?
50. I graduated when I was 50. So I went in at 48.
Yeah.
So how I saw that is like, can I curse?
Yes,
Hell
you can.
yeah.
Okay, so I said, fuck, if I'm gonna be doing this the rest of my life,
Yes.
I gotta renew my vows to my industry and make myself better. So
good.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know how to
good.
cook. Do I consider myself a chef? Yes, even before I went to school. Am I a chef every day? Yes. No, because I can't be in the kitchen all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I love cooking.
Mm.
I love presenting dishes that represent me and my culture, my mother, my call it my upbringing. I don't want to say my country because I don't live there,
Yeah.
but my roots,
Yes.
right? This is my country. I live here.
Yeah.
But I love to showcase that. But going back to your question, I'm in every detail.
Hmm.
And the thing about my restaurants is that, as you've noticed here in this restaurant, Oaxaca, I work differently.
Mm-hmm.
I always work in progress, like in small little bites. Why? Because I'm a little guy and financially maybe, big guy with the but it's like all my projects from Mayahuel, I started them, very simple,
Yeah.
very modest.
Yeah.
And I always love to add and grow to them by
Yep.
adding and adding, making them
Constant
better,
improvement.
constantly
Yes.
improving them, changing and giving the guests, something new and making it great.
Can I ask him a question?
Yeah. Please do.
I love how you, but hold on, let's that you said that so softly
I
and
had
gingerly.
to. I don't want to interrupt too
Jump
much just because I
in.
love all of you. And I'm not a host here, so I just want to be like really
No.
deferent to the agenda. But one of the things we talked about at lunch was, and it struck me because I said the same thing in my podcast, is we're a blend of who raised us, right? You talk so eloquently about your mother. At lunch, you also talked about your work ethic coming from your father. Can you share with the audience a little bit more about what that blend looks like for you? Because one thing I'm always finding out about this gentleman is there's layers, right? We always
Yes.
talk about everyone's an onion, right? And
Yes.
you peel back these layers. He doesn't put himself in a box. He doesn't
Yeah.
think he's one thing.
Yeah.
And so we're already obviously on that talk track, but talk about what that combination of your mother and father looked like for you and what each instilled in you, because I think that's really important for the audience, because I shared that with your audience as
Yes.
well. I'm a blend of my upbringing as well. Right?
Great
So-
question.
So people always say, "Hey, you living the dream, huh?" And
Not knowing how hard it really is.
exactly, right? And I say, nightmares or dreams too.
Yes.
Yeah, you used to have really long hair, right?
No,
I used to have hair.
I used to have hair before I opened Mayahuel. I had a full set of hair. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But people say that, living the dream, and I said yes, I'm living a dream. But you know what? I'm living my parents' dream because I happen to love it. But it was my parents' dream to bring me here or bring the family here because they wanted a brighter future, call it whatever, there's so many different ways of looking at that. And I'm living their dream. And I happen to love it because I feel so fortunate. I ended up in Napa. I grew up in Napa. So I have that Napa upbringing. I grew up, with my cousins running through the grapevines, picking grapes on the weekends to make extra money. And just, it's a beautiful, beautiful valley. And then I come to Sacramento to go to school. And on the restaurant side, the food side, I feel like I live in two amazing cities.
Yes.
I feel like right now in California, you're starting to hear people talking about Sacramento. People always talked about Napa, but it was always Napa Valley. Because I remember people say, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm Napa," and they're like, "Oh, Napa's great." I said, "No, it's not. The city of Napa wasn't.
Yeah.
Back then, it was all about Napa Valley.
Yeah.
Up Valley, Yountville, Santa Helena, Calistoga, Oakville, all the great wine destinations. But now you go to downtown Napa, and it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
it is.
I freaking love it.
Just was down.
When I grew up there, I remember two things. I remember Mervin's and one homeless guy on the corner of First and Main. Now you go there, and I can't decide where to eat.
I know. It's crazy.
It's pretty
No more
amazing.
Mervin's open.
But
Open. Yeah.
back to my to that question is, my parents, I give it to them bringing me here. It was their dream. And my father had a way of, he called it échale ganas, mijo, and that's what he always say, échale ganas. It's like, put your effort in. But my mother, she didn't push anything onto me. She's just, showing her love.
Yeah.
And that's.
Did she encourage more of your artistic side? Because I know you fancy yourself an artist first, right? So I noticed that about you. Like everything is very, you have that capability. You have a vision before anything gets executed.
I believe that comes from my schooling at Sac State. And I mentioned Gwen Amos. She was my professor. And I like to say she gave me my eyes.
The eyes, yeah.
She gave me my eyes because she would say, I'm gonna teach you how to see. As a designer, you look at the world differently.
Yes.
And I love to take, all my restaurants have always been journeys.
Yes.
Have always been like this almost abandoned or places that nobody wanted. All of them. I can speak of El Patron Bar and Grill. I remember one of my best friends says, you know what? I was so happy to give him a tour and we're going to do this here. He says, dude, you should bring a match and burn this place.
Wow.
That was his comment. And that was my good friend. But that was an honest comment. But obviously, after we built it, he's like, whoa,
Yeah.
We impressed him. Then take it to Mayahuel, same thing. Nobody wanted me to go to K Street. They said, are you sure? You know what? And my thought was like, it's in the Hyatt building. It's by the Capitol, by the Convention Center, by the IMAX, by the Cathedral. How can this be a bad decision? It's on the corner. All these things that in my mind, I'm like, no, this is a great corner.
But they stopped Thursday Night Market. They'd had a lot of incidents
No,
on K
this
Street.
was after the market,
all those years later,
I think.
yeah.
Yep.
But everybody said, no, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Don't do it. Then I did La Cosecha. the architect I hired said, "Are you sure you want this here?" And I said, "Absolutely. Do you want to be my architect or not?"
Yeah.
Can I just real quick and
Yes.
pause for a second?
Yes, absolutely.
If anyone right now is listening to this podcast, the set of balls that you have for opening up that specific restaurant,
At that park.
period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone knows if you're, especially from Sacramento,
Yeah.
that Chavez Park is a little rough around the edges, but the food there is amazing. And like, I've eaten there so many times before a Kings game because it's like, you go there right there.
100%.
You're like walking 7 blocks. You're at Golden One Arena. It's amazing. But kudos to you for following through with that because I'm
vision.
sure that you've had some aches and pains on that restaurant.
Definitely. Lots of fun. Just going through the process of opening that restaurant, but takes me back, and this helps explain some of these questions you've been giving me. It's a beautiful story of how La Cosecha, La Cosecha was built, developed, the idea, the idea of me wanting to do a restaurant there was, I'm in Guadalajara at a place called Tlaquepaque. It's a plaza just like that one. Has similar benches. You know, we went to an event in not a good event, but it was a funeral in Mexico. So after a long weekend, we're coming back home. We stopped in Guadalajara, and I was with my sister and my niece, and I wanted to take them to a great place. So I'm going to take them to Tlaquepaque, where it's beautiful art, and we can walk around. Went to this plaza. They had similar benches. After a long day of walking around, we sit at this park bench, and I noticed this young man running to us, and he runs to us and stops right in front of our bench. And I'm like, I was ready to like stand up and say, well, why is this guy running to us? And he stops and says, "Gustan tacos?" I'm like, "Oh, do you want tacos?" I'm like, everybody wants tacos. But the way I looked at him was like, well, you have them in your backpack? Or
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
pocket? And that's what I said to him in Spanish. And he said, no, over there, that's my taco cart over there. It was almost across the plaza.
Oh, see, now you're starting to warm my heart.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, I look at the taco cart and I go, oh, okay, it's a legit guy.
Yeah.
He has a taco cart over there. He probably has good tacos. You know, we're in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I look at my sister, my niece, and say, "Quieren tacos?" And they said, "Yeah."
That means you want tacos.
Go, Chris.
So we go, "Okay, we'll be right over."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'll be right back." And the guy runs to his taco cart, comes back with a little table, which was more of a stool or little fold-out stool they use as a table. He had a table napkin used as a tablecloth. And we put these 3 menus on the table. And he said, to drink, we have aguas frescas. We have, tamarindo, horchata, excuse me, all these other Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
As a restaurant guy, I already had Mayahuel.
Yeah.
I was fascinated.
Agua frescas are fire.
Yeah. I was fascinated. And I said, okay, yeah, we'll have this, and this. And tacos, we have tamales, tacos. There's a full restaurant in the park.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, was there not like a huge line where like, was he just like talking to you guys? And
Yeah, he was just talking to us. I mean, I could see people at the taco
the
stand right there. But it also made me think of Danny Myers, the book Setting the Table in New York, where he developed the restaurant right here that's in our street, the Burger Shack. What's it called? The
Shake Shack?
Or
Shake Shack.
Yeah.
That started in a park as a high-end food stand,
I did not know that.
as a high-end hot dog stand, full service. So I put that idea together with the idea of the original Shake Shack, which was a hot dog stand in New York at the park by Danny Myers, which is, if you don't know who Danny Myers is, a famous restaurateur. And that's how La Cosecha was born.
Was the food amazing
At
this place that you went?
yeah, the tacos
Yeah.
in the park in Jalisco.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So can we just stay here for a quick second
we
because
can.
I feel that the greatest moments of my life, and I'm not just saying this, have happened over a meal.
Absolutely.
And it's like communion. I know I'm speaking your language
Oh, yeah.
right now, bro. Same thing with you. Like Rene, we've been joking. Like Rene and I, he's full dad duty right now. So his daughter just turned 18. She's now off to college. His son's 17. His other son's 10.
Yep.
Damn, I'm a good friend,
You
bro.
are
I'll
good.
keep on going if you
You
want
are
me to.
All
good,
stellar
man.
athletes, just like
And,
their dad.
and he's had to put his business, which is how him and I met 7-8 years ago, kind of on the back burner a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
You know, family's number one right now,
sure.
right? But the few times that we've hung out, they're at his house where he's cooking a feast. We're talking like briskets, ribs, and it's a time of community and just like communion. And when you tell that story of your sister and the niece, and that's a God moment, by the way. Like, you guys could have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
But the fact that that gentleman approached you and
And the way he approached you.
Exactly.
That
And
could
the
be a
bi-
little off-putting, too.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Oh,
That
big,
moment,
big
yeah.
time. But
That's
I
why I
think
was shocked.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bigger God moment is that dude didn't realize who he was talking to.
Right.
He was talking to a fucking restaurant owner,
Yeah.
right? And Ernesto had the wherewithal to be like, "What's up?
He's blown away.
Let's go."
He's blown away by it.
Would you? And here's the craziest thing. Now that we're talking about this, make me so happy. Is that kind of how the restaurant started?
Yes, absolutely.
I
Because
mean-
I thought this man, this young kid, man, he realized that the whole plaza was his restaurant.
Wow.
This whole plaza was the dining room.
He didn't need to stay in that one spot.
No,
crazy.
yeah, he paid a little. Maybe he paid the city for a little,
Permit.
permit to be in the plaza and sell
Incredible.
food in the plaza. But he's like, my whole restaurant is the whole plaza. So I thought the same way. I'm like, I'm gonna put a restaurant right here because La Cosecha was a small little coffee shop called Cafe Soleil. And it was 2 public restrooms, and I turned it into that big vision,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that was my thought is that whole plaza was my dining room.
That's incredible.
So that's what I thought. And we're speaking about God moments. Mesa Mercado is a reference to my mother, and when I was coming up with a slogan for that one, I always come up with slogans for my restaurants. El Patron was lunchtime, dinner time, tequila time.
That sounds
You know,
like
I love that.
That sounds like a white guy made that.
Well, it's like, but you know what? People loved it. People
Yeah.
loved it.
Yep.
Lunchtime, dinner time, tequila time. And that was on our menu. Every restaurant has its slogan, but
Yeah.
going back to these moments when I was developing this restaurant dedicated to my mother. I mean, all of my restaurants are, but in particular Mesa Mercado. And I remember when I was coming up with a slogan, and I thought, when I would walk into my mother's kitchen, she was singing, she was happy. You walk into a kitchen that has amazing smells, is bright, happy, all these things. And I thought, wow, and I thought of a song in Spanish called Una Experiencia Religiosa,
Mhm.
and that's a religious
Religious
experience. But then I modified it to fit my mother and how she made me feel. Do you know when you walk into an old cathedral with the amazing high ceilings and all the beautiful art, it just it lifts you.
Yep.
And I remember that's when I would walk into my mother's kitchen, she would lift me, just by her happiness, her love, she projected. So if you walk into Mesa Mercado, the slogan right on top of the kitchen
I saw
is a religious food experience.
That's incredible.
Because when you make food for people you love, the only outcome is amazing.
Amazing. Oh my goodness.
Jeez Louise, bro.
Listen, well, Chad, let me ask you this, man. You've been around a ton of restaurateurs, ton of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
This man has such an impeccable name in the industry. He's a leader. I mean, the people who are listening right now don't know they've been at his restaurants. They weren't, they're going to hear like, we'll after this, we're going to go and make sure you name each one. And people like, man, I've been there a million times, right? But just tell me about what you see and what makes him different, because he is different, man.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, the artistry comes out, but also the intentional purpose of each of his properties is fascinating, because he truly does have a vision before he even starts. Before there's, windows broken out or tile ripped out or tile laid or anything like that. There's a very intentional purpose and vision for each one, and they all are unique, but they're all also connected. And I think that's a testament to not just you as an individual, but also honoring your culture. The one thing we actually just talked, he gave me a beautiful tour, and we're going to talk about your newest project coming up, and I'm excited to talk about that. But he gave me a tour of that, but the one thing I walked away from that tour after we were talking was we always talk that a lot of people don't realize how diverse Mexico in fact is. They think they know what Mexico is because they've gone to a taqueria or they've done or they've drank some tequila or whatever they've done, and so now they think they know everything. But the reality is Mexico, a lot like America, has multiple states, multiple types of folks, and different cultural cultures within the culture. And so we always talk about in America, you got the Southern twang, right? You got the Pacific Northwest, you've got California, where we all say dude and we all surf. Right? Everyone believes that each of these different areas and regions have their own sort of cultural, stigma or type. But Mexico has the exact same thing, right? There's so many different cultural entities within Mexico itself. He's now doing that location by location, paying homage to his entire culture, not just how he was raised, right? Which is, I think, fascinating, because that also shows that you yourself are also continuing to learn about who you are, your culture, the diversity of your own culture, and it shows in every single one of your projects. I think that part is fascinating. I'm a nerd for that kind of stuff. That makes me super interesting.
I'm glad that Chad came on now.
Now
he wasn't.
Now, like,
he wasn't
listen,
before.
No, that was
whatever
at
he
lunch. He was
says,
like,
I wanted you.
At lunch, we're drinking too much. I don't want to do this.
No,
anymore.
thank you so much for you just like the light bulb right there. He's an ambassador for Mexico. You've literally picked out all the beautiful different parts, and you've kind of made them a collective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely incredible.
The Oaxacan street food dish told me exactly that when we had it down.
And by the way, real quick, not to try to steal the show, but Oaxaca, so before I went to Oaxaca, this is where I've gone to in Mexico: Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo. To be very direct,
of course,
that shit is not fucking Mexico. Okay, if you really want to go experience Mexico, and I'm sure there's other places outside of Oaxaca that I'd love for you to touch on, but Oaxaca would be a really good start to really experience. Am I right? Would you agree with that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely quintessential goosebumps. It's the most quaint place, beautiful. The way that the people are, they're so friendly. Not saying that Mexican, I'm just saying it feels like you're in a fairy tale of a city. It truly does.
Even along those lines, before he gives he's going to give you a very eloquent response. Even before he says that, the 3 cities that you mentioned, right? All big tourist hub spots. I tell people all the time, because I've frequented those since I was a kid, the minute you get out of those tourist spots, you start to get a little bit more of the exposure of the culture in the region, the real culture.
Yeah.
Not what the tourist wants to see, but what Mexico wants you to see. And I think that's really fascinating to your point.
It's kind of like the equivalent, if I've always said this, if somebody was coming to Sacramento for the first time, especially if it was somebody not from America,
We're all farmers.
the last place I'm taking them is Old Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's the last place I'm taking them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm taking them to some of my favorite joints in Midtown, maybe the American River, but we're not going to Old Sac. We're not going to Old Sac. So anyways, I know I'm
But
going
that's
off.
where everybody wants to go, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Do us a favor real quick, just so that we can keep them in order.
Yeah.
Let's list the restaurants.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
If you can.
If I could just mention a couple things
Yes,
on that.
please
that
do.
The idea that, it's like, as Americans, you know what, we love those, we love Cabo, we love Cancun, and I actually love them as well, right? But it's also like, I love Vegas.
Yeah.
We all love
Yeah.
Vegas, but it's not a true expression of America
Good
and
call.
American culture.
That's a great way
right?
to put
Yeah,
it.
it
So
is.
I
That-
do
wow,
love-
that was good.
I do love Cancun. I do love, Baja. I love all places. And I think as a designer, I like to learn from everything.
Yep.
Right. And wherever I am, doesn't matter if it's a really high-end restaurant or a little taco joint,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always trying to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that helps me do what I do. And I'm like a library, I think, because I go to places and I study every place I go.
That's
And
incredible.
then when I need that book or that reference, I grab it,
Yeah.
right? And that's how I develop all these different concepts. I wish my life would probably be easier if I developed one restaurant
And kept doing
and
it
made
over.
them all the
Yeah.
same, you know?
That is
Franchise.
not what
And
you've
Just
done.
franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
good
not
nice.
what you have done, but amazing.
But I'm a creative. I'm an artist, so
Yeah.
I like to be creative at every moment,
Yeah.
at every restaurant. So it starts, with El Patron, which it's not around anymore.
When you name these off, can you tell us where
Sure.
it is or was and
Yeah.
everything, so people like hearing
Yeah.
they
And
can
the
hear?
maybe a short
Yeah.
concept of
Yeah,
what it is.
correct.
'cause
I
they're
would
each
love
different.
to do that.
El Patron Bar and Grill was by Sac State, Folsom Boulevard, almost very close almost next door to Dos Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was with a partner. I was there for about 6 years. I pulled money out of my home, did the entrepreneurial crazy after many, many failures of businesses that I tried in my garage, or all these crazy ideas that me and my roommates had. But the restaurant I thought was a for sure thing.
Yeah.
Right. After 6 years, I ended up walking away from it. Lost a lot, of my investment. I didn't pull a check. I used to take all my tips. I ran the front of the house. I would take all my tips, put them in the register.
So you made no money.
I made no money for
How-
about 5-6 years.
How long
goodness.
ago was that restaurant? Like approximate?
It was
Like-
like 2002, 1,
Wow.
somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
25 years ago.
I just moved back to Sacramento.
yeah.
I was
I-
in college, so I was
I-
over there. So
yeah.
Yeah, Nate,
Marine
Nate wasn't
Corps.
even born yet.
I was going through divorce, and I decided that the best thing to do was to walk away from a partnership that wasn't working.
Mhm.
That my partner was a majority partner, and he wouldn't allow me to express my artist mind.
Yep.
And I just decided the best thing to do was to walk away with nothing, and swearing I would never open another restaurant in my life.
Oh,
Literally, that's the exact words I said.
I've never heard this part.
that's
Okay.
awesome.
And after a while, I realized that I love restaurants and what a restaurant can provide. I realized as a restaurant, in a restaurant, I can express myself as a designer. I can express myself as a cook. I can express everything that I love in my culture, and specifically as a Mexican restaurant, and all those things. So I thought, that's what I want to do. You know, I want to just keep doing it. So that's how Mayahuel came about. So Mayahuel now I consider my first restaurant because it was all me,
All yours.
all me. So every decision, every menu item, every color, every material, everything about it was my choice.
That was
Whether it
08,
was
09?
good or bad. What's that?
That was 0809?
That was I think I took it over in the 2010,
Oh,
2009.
okay.
Because I
Wow.
moved back
And
to
then
Midtown in 2010.
Wow.
and
I
remember-
opened
yeah.
in 2011.
I remember the opening. I was, yeah.
So I was Golden Bay opened up right on the building next to it. So it was right in the beginning then when we were
Yeah.
down there.
And
So we're talking about
Mayahuel-
K Street here, you guys. That's
Right
K and
across,
12.
right across from Ella. And by the way, that place when it opened up was literally one of a kind. That's where I learned about fine tequila.
Yeah.
And that was my idea, is that here's the designer side of me. It's like, yeah, I'm opening a restaurant. But people didn't say, hey, have you been to the new restaurant? Mexican restaurant? They'd say, hey, have you been to the Tequila Museum?
the
That's
Tequila
it.
Museum. There it is.
So-
He had a tequila
And it's probably
lockers,
only
he was
gotten
doing
better
all that,
since then.
yeah.
Yes, and that's
Tequila
the thing,
lockers.
right?
Come on.
That was the idea, is that was my creative way of coming up with. I came up, if I love something, or when you showcase something that's historical, something with a lot of value, where do you find these things? In a museum,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
thought that's how I need to exhibit.
That's so good.
A restaurant, a museum.
Yeah.
So, I like to say that, the full name of Mayahuel is called Tequila Museo Mayahuel.
Wow.
But it's not an actual, it's a Mexican restaurant that is exhibited through the history and production of tequila, right? So all that involves the culture, the people, the style, the food, the drinks, tequila. And that whole tequila component came from, because I'm from Napa, and I realized what they did with wine, right? So they took wine and glorified it and said, well, they do wine dinners, it's breaking bread with wine, celebrations with wine. And I thought, well, I'm going to glorify tequila.
Yeah.
Back then, tequila was $3 a shot.
Yep.
Yes.
We go down to the corner bar
Yep.
with my college buddies, and we order
For the
a
record, I
round
was
of
not drinking tequila those years. I just wasn't.
$3 shots, right?
Oh yeah.
I had a bad
Now
experience.
you can't find
As
a
we
$3
all
shot
did.
anywhere. But that's Mayahuel. After Mayahuel, I went and opened Mesa Mercado in Carmichael, Fair Oaks and Marconi, which is a tribute to my mother, a religious food experience. It's called Market to Table Mexican Food. The idea and concept there was that when you make something from scratch, like a mole has up to 36 ingredients. Try putting 36 ingredients in something, it tastes like nothing.
That's crazy.
But when there's something that is magical about mole, it's chaotic to put 36 ingredients in something, right? But there's something magical about mole sauce that brings it all together, and it's the process of toasting all the ingredients to make them blend together. It's almost like the ensemble that we're talking about,
Yes.
the wine, when you
Yes.
blend three agaves, or the wine blend, solar, I think it's called, in wine, where you blend the different wines or the different grapes to create a different expression of the wine. And in this case, it was, I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about the recipe for mole.
Mole,
36
yes, that's right,
Yeah.
mole. So it's so magical that it's so delicious that the flavor profiles are so heightened, right? Whether it's and it's almost like it's hard to tell what the note is.
Uh-huh.
Is it nutty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the
Chocolate. Is it-
chocolate?
yeah.
Is it the dry peppers?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, there's so much intensity
Yeah.
in the mole sauce that it's like, how can it be so delicious when it has just so many different flavors?
Yeah.
But it's magical because, it all comes together.
Yeah.
And then next.
After Mesa Mercado, I took over Sal's Tacos. It was kind of during the pandemic where I was trying to help a family. And I ended up, I had an interest in opening a restaurant in West Sacramento. So I was interested in the property. And I thought, well, if you offer the property with the business, then I'd be interested because the family had, I think the owners wanted to retire, and at that time I wasn't as interested in Sal's Tacos, but I was interested in the location and the property. Thought I could turn it into something that was more my flavor, if you want to
Yeah.
call it. But I tried to change the name. Nobody liked it, or the customers didn't want it to change. And I realized it has to stay at Sal's.
Yeah.
And I left it as Sal's because my goal was to keep the charm. And it's been around for 50 years.
Yes.
But give it a little bit of more of my flair. I brought in a liquor license so we can have margaritas. Just polished it up a bit.
Yes.
Brought in some more of my flavor, if I want to, you want to call it that. And now I've had it for about 5 years, maybe going on 5.5.
Amazing.
After Sal's, or during that time, I went to culinary school, and I came up with
Jeez.
this. I think culinary school broadened my I don't know what to call it. I was so into Mexico and Mexican food and Mexican restaurants that I decided that after learning other Latino cultures that I wanted to explore those cultures after learning about all their foods. So I decided to break out and go a little bit more Latino than just Mexico. And I came up with this seafood concept that I call octopus. And people say, why don't you call it pulpo? I say, well, octopus, I think it's a California restaurant. It's a seafood California restaurant that tells the story of the migration of cultures here to America and the foods that have been created and inspired by all those cultures that migrated here. So I came up with that concept of octopus, but it's in 3 different restaurants. They share the same name, but they're all in a different region or different, it started with Octopus Peru which is on 9th Street across from La Cosecha. Because they created ceviche. So this whole
I was at
thing
the soft
starts.
opening, and it was.
Wow.
I've never been to this restaurant.
Oh, it's right across the street from La Cosecha.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long has it
Small
been
little
open?
tapa style.
About a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Small
And-
tapa style is so good. Yeah.
So this whole journey starts, as in culinary school, they teach you, everything about the history of food, the science of food, obviously the creation of food and how the process and all the cooking methods. But for me, it was fascinating to learn how all my favorite Mexican dishes that my mother, that I expressed earlier, that they were all inspired by other cultures, right?
Incredible.
So it starts, this concept starts in Japan and China with the raw seafood, raw fish. comes into the sashimi and all that concept comes into Latino countries. I chose Peru because they decided to add citrus and made ceviche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as Californians, Americans, we believe, and even as in Mexicans, we believe that we created ceviche. That's in Mexico, but ceviche is actually, from Peru, and I believe it's the other countries, Ecuador, that they kind of talk about who invented ceviche.
Yeah,
But
the Caribbean versus the Pacific.
yeah,
Oh,
so but I
got it,
chose
got it.
Peru because I like the classical Peruvian ceviche.
Uh-huh.
It's very fresh, light, and it's delicious.
Have you guys
So-
tried that place yet?
No.
No.
You got to
No.
go in. It's
Not-
super,
I'm so excited about
walk
what
up
we're
to the
talking about.
bar. You get yourself a small plate of anything that is on the menu,
Yeah.
and it's going to blow your mind.
I love
Then-
ceviche too.
Yes,
Next week. We're
because
there.
I'm a California guy, there's, in culinary school, it just helped me to understand, that there's Latin America,
Yeah.
right? No, South America is Latin America, but besides that, there's North America, South America. But as Americans, we all think that the only America that exists is North America or California as
Yeah.
Californians, right?
Yeah.
But I learned so much in culinary school about South America and all the Latino countries
Incredible.
in South America that I just got I got fascinated with that I created a couple restaurant concepts, but in particular this one was octopus. So there's Octopus Peru, Octopus Baja, which is on 28th and K, and that's a reference to California. And
It's over by Sutter Hospital. It's great.
Oh my
I've been there.
goodness.
It's-
You have been that
Yeah.
one?
it's awesome, and the dishes there are very California / Mexico / Baja,
Uh-huh.
right? And then in the new project, La Ciudad, reference to Mexico City and ancient Mexico, there's going to be Octopus Mexico. So there's 3, and it completes the journey of a restaurant. I call it one restaurant with 3 locations, and it's not the typical restaurant that has the same name and it has the same menu and same design and interior. This restaurant, I've never seen it done before. It has the same name, it shares the octopus name, but it also has another region attached to it: Octopus Peru, Octopus Baja, Octopus Mexico. So it's really showcasing the story of how Mexican seafood dishes were inspired and created based on that history and migration of spices that come from these other countries and cultures. That's why I think that concept is fascinating. So Octopus Mexico is going to be, like the typical seafood stand you would find in a mercado, in a market in Mexico, where you have the fish hanging, they're stacked up, the octopus here, the shrimp over there, and then they're literally cooking right next to it and making them.
Just out of the ocean, you pick what you want,
Yeah.
and they make it for you right in front of you, kind of a thing. Yeah.
You're getting, ceviche tostadas, shrimp tostadas. You're getting fish stews. You're getting all these, fish
Yeah.
tacos and all these wonderful dishes. And that's one component of La Ciudad,
Uh-huh.
which is it's on corner 5th and C in West Sacramento.
I know that Chad's going to say yes to what I'm about to ask.
Oh my
'cause,
goodness.
We've talked about this. We've had so many guests on here. I've talked about this with Bro. I've talked about this with Lustig. And Jake kind of shuts me down because Jake's a special individual. But can we all
Shout out
commit
to
right
Jake.
now? This is my ask as you're telling this story, and all I'm visioning is traveling in Mexico and going to all these incredible spots, the mercados, and getting to truly experience Mexico the way that it needs to be experienced. Can we all agree that we're going to go to Mexico next year together?
That would be amazing.
Yes,
And
do it.
kind of have Ernesto lead the way. Jake Lustig will
Yeah.
be involved. We'll maybe go to some of his distilleries. We'll go eat some seafood and just do a tour together. Like, can we
That'd be
agree on that?
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you're like,
You don't
man,
even have to twist my arm.
I
Oh,
know,
that would
right?
make- yeah.
My love for Mexico is huge. My love for Mexican people is absolutely my favorite people in the entire universe, Mexican people. And you have brought, as you're telling all your stories, just a slice of that beautifulness to the city of Sacramento.
Man.
So we are thankful that you are doing this, man. It's like just incredible that you've done this.
You know, I truly love when people, I actually, you know, now I get people that walk up to me and say, thank you for what you've done for our city. And I'm like,
I told you that.
I know.
But it's so real.
I told you that.
It's-
And you know what? I just don't, sometimes I don't realize what I have done, right? Because I even had one person on Facebook said, Ernesto, thank you for all the relationships that, you know, you help create in your restaurants. And I never thought about that. I'm like, wow, yes, you're right. You know, people go on their first dates, people have their anniversaries there, people, you know, best
Melanie
friends.
starts a tequila company called Nanalama.
I mean, it's like truly, and you know, all these statements. You know, one time someone said, do you realize that Mayahuel is like right next to the capital,
Yep.
next to a city that there's people all over the world come to, and they're coming to your restaurant.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, I'm touching people from all over the world.
Exactly.
You know,
You've had dignitaries come to your restaurant at Mayahuel,
Yep.
right? Because they come to visit the governor, whoever's the standing governor, and off of when you think about Capitol Park and all the restaurants that are of a choice, quite literally, Mayahuel is one block off the Capitol.
Exactly.
And they can literally come out of the west steps, or in that case, the north steps. They can come off the north steps, cross the street, and boom, they're there.
They're there.
Right? My office is across the street, so I frequent that restaurant often just because it's convenient for my meetings with clients and things of that nature. But instantly when you're in there, you do, to your point, it feels like you're in a museum where you're learning more than you expect to learn just eating some food, right? Because you start to, if you pay attention and you look on the walls and you look at the bar and you look even in the restroom, like everything is very, very distinct, right?
Yes.
He was very particular about that.
as a designer, everything has purpose.
Yes.
You know, even Mayahuel. Where did Mayahuel come from? Mayahuel was the Aztec goddess of the agave plant where tequila is made from in Aztec mythology. Yet,
That's some gangster shit.
Man.
the true reason why Mayahuel was Mayahuel and became Mayahuel because my daughter's name is Maya.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's painted on the wall
Wow.
Oh, no way.
as an Aztec goddess.
Have you seen that mural?
No.
On the outside?
I
It's
have
beautiful.
seen it.
Or no,
Yeah.
inside.
Well, that's the one that's inside.
Inside,
If you
it's
sit
inside,
at the
yeah.
big bar, she's the one to the far left.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because my daughter's Mexican and half black, African American, and she looks in that mural. She looks Aztec. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Not only we had her pose, but you know we added all the
course, yeah.
ancient
Headdressing.
hairdress and traditional Aztec, you know, and she looks Aztec because it was the darker complex.
Yeah.
She has the, you know, I like to believe she looks a lot like me, but Mom says she looks a lot more like her, thankfully. But it's you know, everything in all my restaurants have a purpose. It doesn't matter if it's a bolt or an amazing mural or a painting or a featured item on the menu.
Yeah.
Everything has a story. Everything has a purpose. The color is a color for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, I like red and it's red,
Yeah.
you know. No, it has to connect to my concept.
Oh my goodness.
Two things real quick. One, I'm going to take a bathroom break. Two, can we give a shout out? I'm going to have you just give the shout out. This is 1146. Talk about who this is from.
Sure. All right. So we just did at Enalama, we did this beautiful dinner. Melanie Shelby, the founder, who was inspired by Ernesto. That's why this is such a neat thing for me today. We launched the Añejo, and we did that at Clay Nutting's place at Cannon. Phenomenal dinner. Ernesto was there. A bunch of us were there. Rene was not. He had FOMO the whole time.
The whole time.
We were teasing him. I was sending him pictures because we had all, just amazing.
I felt a part of it because of the pictures.
It was
I
amazing.
appreciate
But we
that.
had, Jake was there, and we were talking about this because Oscar, our master distiller for Enilama, was telling his story. But I could tell he kept looking over at Jake. And for those that don't know, Jake Lustig owns Art de Nome.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally was able to have the opportunity to talk to him and tell him that one of my favorite tequilas, in fact, is Art de Nome 1146.
1146.
It is an amazing liquid. It's one of my favorites, and we poured it today after getting to try a whole bunch of tremendous stuff that you curated today. Then I really appreciate it. Along with the food,
Yep.
we went on a tequila journey, we went on a mezcal journey,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're gonna wrap things up today, hopefully with some amazing Art de Nome 1146. So we did that. And so shout out to Jake. We wish you the best, my friend. Salute to you. Salute to Ernesto. Appreciate you, brother.
We didn't wait. I already had mine, Jake. Oh man, so good.
We got one more that we have to before we leave.
If I can do a toast,
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I talk about elevating our culture. I
Mhm.
talk about elevating everything that is. I come to love tequila because it's part of what expresses Mexico and my culture. And we all remember the times where we go into the bars and we had the little shot glass, $3 shots,
Yep.
and we would, instantly we wanted to grab it and shoot it. And when I started this journey at Mayahuel, I thought that's not a way to honor
Mm.
my culture.
Mm.
We all did it. We
Of
all love
course.
it. We still do it, right? Yet
Some
I
of us
thought,
did it too much.
yes, I did it. I did it too much. We all did it. But I said I'm gonna be a representative of culture, talking tequila. A funny part is I developed my own stage name. I call myself El Señor Ernesto Delgado de Tequila. That's my stage name. But it, look at this. It's a beautiful glass,
Yeah.
right? And when you serve a spirit and you want to honor the people behind it
Mm.
and the culture that's represented, and that it's so delicious and amazing, because we all know, or for those of us that don't know, right, how long the process to make a beautiful spirit. The agave takes so long to grow, and unlike grapevine, once you cut it, it's done. You got to plant it again and grow it. Wait 7 to 9, 10 years. In mezcal, up to 30 years to make it again. Well, with a grapevine, you get a harvest every year, right? But that's why this is so much more special, because you have to wait so long.
Wow.
But I always say, you know what? Grab the glass, raise it up high to honor the spirit, people behind it, and the people you're with,
Mm.
right? And that's why you bring it to your heart.
Mm.
Because when you're drinking an amazing spirit and you're with people that you want to be with, enjoy, and love, then it's like breaking bread, right?
It is.
So then you reach over and you say salud,
Salud.
toast,
Salud.
and before you actually drink it, you want to bring it in with your nose so you can really take it in, and now you take the sip. Salud.
Salud. Love every bit of that. Oh my goodness.
He's an artist. I'm telling you, this is what I'm talking about.
And so you guys had the 1146 from Jake Lustig.
We did.
And it is just oaky, caramely, just full of incredibleness. We're drinking. Ernesto, I'm going to tell you real quick, okay? Like,
Ernesto's.
I've yet to meet a mezcal that I like better than Don Amado. I'm such a big Don Amado guy. This is
Don't
probably.
tell Jake that.
Oh man, you know what?
This is so different. This
Jake,
is so different.
Jake he's just for the people, man. Jake's a special human being, but give us a quick little snippet on this mezcal and how you met this gentleman and what this is, because this is special. This is good.
I'll do a bio break real quick.
It's
Yep.
called Tres Tiempos. This gentleman here, he's from Oaxaca. His name is Raul, or goes by Raul. I can't recall his name right now. His last name, that is.
Okay.
But he was, he didn't do a mezcal because he was an entrepreneur. He did a mezcal because he wanted to do better for his family. So he moved here at a young age, started working here, sending money back. But then he realized, this is a story he tells, that he couldn't believe how much a shot of mezcal was here versus what he would pay, what people would pay over there.
Yeah.
And he thought, you know what? I want to do good for my family, and I need to develop my own mezcal because that's what his family did in Mexico. So he wanted to import it. But as you may know, or maybe not, it's really complicated to be able to import, and expensive to be able to import a brand or a mezcal or something of this nature. But I remember, like, maybe even like 6, 7, 8 years ago, he would come to me with this little bottle and says, "Hey, I'm gonna bring a mezcal, and I want to see if you'll help me sell it." And and I always welcomed him. He would show up for testings, and for different events, and he was just so generous. But when he showed up with his final product and his brand, I was like, wow, look at this
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
beautiful bottle, beautiful story, beautiful brand. The women make this handmade basket. The bottle goes in.
Jeez.
The presentation, the name, the logo, this label on top, the liquid, right? It just, for me, I was just trying to support him and his family because of his story. But, then we connected, and I started buying his mezcal. And then he says, "Hey, if you want, I'll make you your own batch." And then you get to pick it.
Yeah.
And select it and have a little bit of direction in it. And I said, okay. So I just committed to the whole batch.
Yeah.
And he made, this special bottle for me, which is delicious. And I'm glad you all enjoyed it.
It's incredible.
It was hard to pick one.
Yeah.
That, when you asked me, and I thought, well, I can't just pick one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I brought two. One that was very, surprisingly, I always look for another word than, smooth.
Yeah.
But
You're never saying that again.
yeah.
I know.
I say it all the time, though, but
corrects
I
himself.
think it's the idea that we all expect something else.
Yeah.
We expect smoke. We expect strength. We expect, all intense and all these things. But it's like silky.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's flavorful. It's almost like it wraps your tongue with this layer of syrup. And the flavor, it heightens, and without like being overbearing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of mezcal, right? Is that, you're not tasting age, right? You're not tasting like oak, like that's the difference. You're tasting the differences in the species of the agave plant.
Come on.
Exactly.
So I like to make it simple for people and say, when you're a cook, if you're a tequila cook and you're an agave cook, I'm sorry, a mezcal cook. When you're cooking tequila and you open up your spice rack to give it flavor and
Mhm,
difference and all.
mhm.
You have one spice to grab.
Yeah.
There's only one spice in your cabinet. It's called Blue Weber Azulejo,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they have other additions that change the profiles, the type of the barrel,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
But you're adding, you change it by oak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not you can change it by oak and age.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a mezcal cook, you open up that cabinet and you have a ton of different spices you can grab
Mm-hmm.
to give it that flavor profile that you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and you're not aging it, you're getting more of the true spirit with
Yeah.
mezcal, the
Yeah.
true essence of what mezcal is. It's a you're exhibiting the agave, the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in tequila, you do exhibit the plant, but it's only one, and you're also exhibiting the unique recipe. I call it recipe as a cook
Mm-hmm.
of the addition of flavor, whether it's what you're talking about, additives, or you're using, by putting it into an oak barrel,
Mm-hmm.
you're adding oak
Yep.
wood flavor.
Yeah.
And the longer you age it, well, the more it becomes the wood or the bourbon that was in it previously. Because
Yeah.
not all, but the majority of the barrels that tequila's aged in are used bourbon barrels.
Exactly.
So when you taste an extra añejo, right, that's been in a certain bourbon barrel, you're
Double
gonna
oaked, yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
taste that bourbon in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the way you described mezcal, and I didn't think about it until you said it at lunch today. You equated mezcal to being more like the wine industry than any other, because truly with mezcal you're dealing with a different. Sorry, what was the word you used? The different species of agave.
Yes.
Just like we have Pinots, we have Sauves,
Mhm.
we have
Mhm.
Cabs, we have all these different species of grapes. Same with mezcal, we have the different species of agave that truly then bring, and even to that point, then you also get the regionality of it as well. But yeah, you did a great job, because I love mezcal. Mezcal is something I use because there's only really two spirits I drink regularly.
Uh-huh.
It's whiskey, bourbon, and it's tequila.
Yep.
And it's usually based on how hot it is outside.
Yeah,
If I'm being
exactly.
candid, right? Like, I'm a weirdo like that. If it's a 100-degree day, it's tequila.
Yeah.
If it's 40-degree day, it's probably whiskey.
Yeah.
Right?
You know the number one the number one question I get, it's like, hey, what's the best tequila, right? Or what's the best mezcal?
Yeah.
But I always like to say, I refuse to answer that. I don't quite say it like that, but I do. I refuse to answer that because mezcal and tequila are a lot like wine. It depends on the experience.
Yep.
It depends on the moment.
Yeah.
It depends on the celebration. It's like right now I just poured myself in el alma,
Yeah.
and it's the blanco, right?
And this is our second version.
Yeah.
And
New
you
batch.
know,
No,
Was this first?
he pulled out the first batch.
Oh, okay.
And
First.
interesting is that a lot of us start with drinking reposado tequila, right?
Yeah.
Then, including myself, that's how I started. Then I migrated to añejo, and then I'm like more sophisticated. Then I do
Pinkies up.
extra añejo, and now I'm aficionado.
Yeah.
Right? But when then you become a real tequilero, you become more of a purist, and you go back to the blanco,
Blanco.
Back to the
I
roots.
love
Right?
the Blanco.
because now you're tasting the true exhibit of what tequila is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not getting the barrel, you're not getting the bourbon, you're getting the species.
Exactly.
Species of
And
plant.
We
the
use that from
history
now on. The species.
of the
I like that.
process, right?
Yeah.
Of Mexico.
Yeah.
And I like to say Mexico, not Mexico, Mexico,
Mhm.
because that is what I try to put out in my restaurants, Mexico.
Well, I will say this on that. The Enalama is it's one of the best, if not the best, Blanco I have ever had in my entire life. And when Jake Lustig was in this seat, it was so funny because
Love Jake.
it was so funny because we had both bottles, and I'm gonna talk about Nate for a quick second. He's 21 now, so we can actually talk about this.
Get him liquored up.
I had the first and second batch bottles side by side, and when Jake freaked out, he was probably like mentioning it 3 times throughout the podcast. He was like, he would take it and you go, "This is incredible.
Yeah.
This is just." He looks at Oscar and he goes, "Well done, friend."
For the second batch, right?
No, for the
both?
first. No,
Oh, for the first,
For
yeah.
he was geeking out
Yeah.
on the first batch.
Yeah.
And it just this Blanco's special. Like if
It really is.
somebody were to ask me, "Hey, I'm gonna buy a bottle of tequila for a gift for somebody," that's where I'm pointing them at.
I think I said it during our podcast. Like I do blind taste tests on my backyard all the time.
Yeah.
Nino Lama is the one. It's the one.
So I want you to go back and look at our podcast, and I really want to do a cut of Rene's face.
All right, listen
'Cause
to this,
I
Nate. This
live
is what you
tasted
want.
him
On
the
batch 2,
podcast.
right?
We did batch
Yeah,
1, and
batch
then we
one
did
and
batch
batch
2.
two.
Yeah.
Because he had just come off a weekend of drinking a bunch of batch 1,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I had tasted him on batch 2, and the look on his face, because I would read body language, the look on his face, he was just like, whoa. Because he had just come off a weekend of drinking
Exactly.
nothing but batch 1. So then
Exactly.
the batch 2, he was just like, okay, like this is just another level.
That's
like,
so
and shout
funny.
out to Oscar. The thing I love about Oscar, you got to meet Oscar at the Añejo dinner, and the nice thing about what he does is he's a chemist by trade. He's got a,
Yep.
a master's in chemistry, but he himself is also an artisan, right? He believes in the artistry of making tequila, right? It is something that he is making into art for us to consume. And you do the same thing with restaurants. And so I think we would do a disservice if you touched on La Ciudad, but I want you to finish what that whole journey is going to look like
Yes, please
when
do.
we as the consumer get to like take it all in. Because I
Yep.
got to walk it a week or 2 ago, but
Yeah.
it's almost done. And we as consumers are going to go on a journey when we go into La Ciudad. So maybe you could take us on that.
Absolutely. I wanted to make one quick note on Oscar, and he when I listened to his speech as well, he talked about the same thing, about his that he does what he does for his family,
Yep.
right? And yes, he loves it, but he does it. And I think that's what makes it great, because I like to say that Mexican people are creative and passionate by I forget to use the word I normally use, but it's almost like by force, in a sense, in the idea that we're forced to be creative to be able to live. For example, taco stands. The story I told about the guy in the park.
In the plaza, yeah, that's amazing.
That story's fascinating.
It
And
is, man.
He inspired me, and he's not doing it to be glorified. He was doing it just to make a living, just to be creative. He was creative by doing what he does.
And then push the envelope to say
Yeah.
the whole
Yep.
plaza is my
And maybe
restaurant.
he didn't even realize what he's doing,
Yeah.
but I did.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Right. And all those steps have gotten me to my latest project, La Ciudad. La Ciudad is reference to it translates to the city.
Yep.
In this case, it's Mexico City. Why? Because Mexico City right now,
Would you say it's going through a renaissance right now?
it really is.
Mexico
Oaxaca
City is
and
just-
Mexico
that's
City.
fascinating. to me right
Everybody's
now.
talking about visiting Oaxaca and Mexico City. Oaxaca and
Yeah.
Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, people go to Cancun and all these other places, but right now, the places to visit is Oaxaca and Mexico City. They have the culinary destinations. they're Mexico City for me as a Mexican. I was culturally shocked when I went there because I like to say Mexico City is like New York, San Francisco, and Sacramento in a blender.
Really?
That's a good description.
That is incredible.
That's a really good way to describe it.
You have
wow.
ancient pyramids.
At 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way
In
up
Mexico
there.
City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you also got the most modern architecture of the world,
Yeah.
the most intensive tower buildings, most creative.
Food
Most-
everywhere.
Food is phenomenal. The restaurant concepts, the passion behind the food, the service, the creativeness, the fact that they're not as what do you call it, regulated by so many different
Yeah.
government,
Right.
you know,
The bureaucracy of
a
government.
little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
which they have their own bureaucracies.
Yeah.
Right. But it allows Mexico City to be the most expressiveness of the world, truly,
Wow.
because
So that now transcends Mexico as a nation, but now you're seeing the influence from a cultural influence from the world now converging on Mexico City is what you're describing, right?
Everyone,
Yes.
everyone
Yeah.
from every country in the entire world right now, the hot spots for them, Swedes, Germans, like everyone is they're focusing in right now in Mexico City.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
it really is, because people didn't realize the gastronomy of Mexico for a long time. They thought we were tacos and burritos.
Mm-hmm.
But if you study our gastronomy of Mexico, the world-renowned chefs of the world are going to Mexico to study the moles, to study our gastronomy.
36
You know,
ingredients, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's wild.
It's the famous restaurants, chefs of the world are going to Mexico to get inspired. And this didn't exist before.
No.
It was all about shots of tequila and sombreros, right? And donkeys in Tijuana, right? But now that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's all about amazing experiences. I went to Hawaii recently. First time I've been I call it out of the country. It's still
United
U.S.
States,
I know,
Still
right?
U.S.
I
but
understand, though.
I've been to
5
Mexico,
5-hour flight.
but the furthest I've been out of the country is Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I loved Hawaii, but for me, I thought, you know what? I love Mexico, man.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Hawaii, but I really love, there's so much about Mexico that is beautiful. And maybe I'm biased because I'm Mexican and I want to travel the world. But there's so much to Mexico, from ancient cultures to modern cultures. There's so many languages and dialects in Mexico that it's crazy how many
Wow.
dialects. They have
Yes.
hundreds and hundreds of dialects
Dang.
in the smaller
Yep.
towns and ancient cultures. Pretty fascinating.
It is amazing.
Incredible.
Okay, so La Ciudad is going to be. Take us through what La Ciudad will be in terms
So
of.
La Ciudad is a tribute to the market. It's called, the full name is La Ciudad Urban Marketplace. It encompasses a coffee shop called Cafe Maya, my
Uh-huh.
daughter,
Yep.
Octopus Mexico,
Uh-huh.
and Popoca Mixli. Popoca Mixli is like a mini, it's like Mayahuel and Oaxaca condensed.
Wow.
Formal sitting area. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
And
Oh.
it's also, Popoca Mixli is a reference to, you've probably seen the very prominent image of the Aztec warrior holding the princess.
Yep.
Right? So their full names are like, Popoca is short for Pococandalacumitzi, something like that. I
Yeah.
probably But there's these really long Aztec names, and I shortened it, and I made it Popoca Mixli as a reference to that image, to what that image represents, to what those two characters in that image, which is the Aztec warrior and the Aztec princess. It's a beautiful story, like Romeo and Juliet, like the original Mayahuel story, where the Aztec warrior wanted to marry the princess. He asked the father in hand in marriage. The father, the king, said, "Absolutely, but first I need you to go fight the Mayans, and if you win, you can have my daughter's hand in marriage."
Wow.
He went, won the war, comes back for his princess, and another warrior came back earlier and told the princess that her love died in the war with the intention of trying to win her over, but she could not bear the idea that he passed away, so she killed herself.
Wow.
And there's two volcanoes right there in Mexico City. And if you look at the volcanoes, they're laying down to rest right there. There's a reference to those volcanoes in the mountains. So there's a whole story to that. And that's why this is a beautiful story that I'm trying to tell right here in West Sacramento.
Incredible.
But even more for our community or the community of West Sacramento is that I took an old garage, originally a gas station.
It was literally a gas station which turned into an auto repair shop. And now he's converted it into this. Yeah.
And it's only phase one of phase two. So eventually I'm going to open this way with these 3 locations. But what's interesting enough too is that I consider Sal's Tacos as part of La Ciudad.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like this little mini city within a bigger city.
That's incredible.
So it's one block, but that's what I'm trying to do, and I want to create other offerings.
Yes.
And I designed that place to be all day long, so you can walk there, bike there, scooter there, Uber there, because there's no parking.
Yeah.
So it's on a corner, but you can park at Sal's, walk over there, or get there however you can.
Exactly.
Type of thing. But
Pre-game
it's
before the
designed-
A's games, that part, you know.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's designed to go there all day long and for everyone. So I even have an ice cream area for kids. I have a full tequila mezcal bar for full service. I have casual service. And I want to have just offerings for everyone.
That's
Right?
Talk about
At all
what
times.
phase 2 will look like, too. I think phase 2
So
is important,
phase
too.
2 will be an outdoor bar like Cosecha in the park at Cesar Chavez Plaza. Have a covered patio, in an outdoor little mini plaza for the coffee goers and more of a casual place.
Yeah.
Full service patio, 2 outdoor bathrooms. And it's just going to be a destination. There's going to be, in the little mini plaza, there'll be a stage for music, for speeches, for outdoor cooking demonstrations. And just really try to make it a community center.
It's going to
a
change
marketplace,
everything over
a
there,
mercado.
man.
And it needs it. And it's
It
phenomenal.
does need
the
it.
city's on board with it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So we're going to shotgun some questions to you right now, Ernesto.
Absolutely.
Now, as I ask you these questions, as we wrap up, I don't need overthinking. I just need to just whatever the first.
Whatever comes to mind.
Okay, here we go. Taco or burrito? Oh my God! I just warned you, Ernesto.
Taco.
Okay,
All right.
taco. On ceviche, are we going shrimp or are we going fish?
Recently, fish.
Okay. Salsa verde or red salsa?
My mother's salsa.
Ooh, I love that.
That's a good answer.
I love that. Now,
Which were both, but sometimes a combination.
Oh, okay.
Red and green.
If gun was to your head on the taco and you had to choose between one of the 3, what would you pick? Al pastor, carne asada, Now, I'm going to have to say this. Lengua. Barbacoa.
Out of those four, I would say lengua.
Yeah.
Lengua.
We
Lengua.
just had that for lunch, and he loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you were.
I
having
would
a-
normally never pick that on the menu, and I've changed it today.
That has always
Same.
been my favorite.
Seriously.
No, it's not my favorite. I'm gonna tell you what my favorite
What
taco
is it?
is. But out of those four, it definitely is the taco de lengua. I put it on the menu because I love it.
Yeah.
And I come here most of the time. Like I said, I order those three dishes, and
Yeah.
we start with the tacos de lengua. We move on to the tlayuda, and then sometimes we'll share the main dish.
Mm-hmm.
But I always order the entomatado de res.
Yes,
so
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
But if you
That's
want to,
exactly what I plan to get next time.
but if
I
you
go.
want to know my favorite taco,
Yeah.
which is the lengua is one of them, but ultimate favorite is taco de buche.
What is that?
That was the first one we had today, or the first one.
No,
I
we
had.
didn't
No,
have
we
it.
didn't have that today.
I don't
Which one
serve
did
buche. Buche is a little probably too much for
Is it brain?
No. I actually don't like. It's probably the only food I don't like is I grew up in two. I eat every type of food, but my father would make two type of tacos that I did not like, and it was brain tacos and blood tacos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not a big.
Yeah, those two. I mean, are common in
Brain is
Mexico.
brain-
What's the
brain is
buche?
brainy.
Yeah.
Buche is
Liver.
no. It's more of it's like the intestine, but it's kind of like menudo, but it's more of the stomach, and it's delicious. If you go to a restaurant and they have buche, it's like a combination of carnitas and I don't know. I want to say, but you probably don't recognize those
Something
either.
fatty.
Yeah. There's two other tacos that I love as well that you probably have had. They're more street, more raw, but it's a lot to do with the intestines. And it's interesting enough that Mexican food, as I've studied it, right? Because I love to study what I serve, but it's peasant food.
Mm.
So, for example, menudo. You guys know what
Yeah.
menudo
Oh,
is,
yeah.
right? Menudo.
Lived off it growing up.
That they would throw it away,
Yep.
and the poor and the peasants would pick it up, and they had to make it taste good, so they became experts in adding the addition of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it was just like they saw it as bad meat.
Yeah.
Interesting story. When I first moved to the United States, we started in a town called Cloverdale. And we would come to Napa to visit family, but on the way we would stop in Santa Elena at a little market that had a meat market. And my father had a friend there who worked in the meat market, and he would say, "Hey, we're gonna stop at this market because the meat guy,
The butcher.
Butcher.
the butcher, he's gonna give me all this free meat." They would give us the lengua.
Mm-hmm.
They would give us the for
Intestines.
the intestine for the tripa, they call it,
Mm-hmm.
which is all the tube, you know.
Yep.
They would give us the feet,
Mm-hmm.
the cueritos, which is the skin, and my father would make food out of all this stuff.
Yeah.
But as kids, me and my brothers and sisters hated it.
Yeah.
Because we saw that as like, so you're saying they throw this away and you cook it for us?
Mhm.
We're eating garbage?
Yeah.
That's how we saw it as
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And they just say, eat it.
Yeah.
You are eating it, right?
What a dynamic.
Yeah, but we hated it back then, but now I love it,
Yeah.
right? I grew up with it, and you know, but that's how we saw it as we were they were feeding us garbage.
Mm.
Insane.
But tacos de buche are my absolute favorite.
2 more questions.
Yes.
So the last one was, okay, here we go. Menudo or pozole?
It depends on the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah. Menudo is it's the weekend. It's the the more of a lunch, the hangover,
Hangover all
you need the
day.
greasy, the pozole. Man, the pozole is comfort food.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
It's really good
Yeah.
in the wintertime too.
oh
Like,
yeah, it warms your insides up. Mayahuel has a green pozole.
oh my gosh! So
That-
that's what I would. The Mayahuel green pozole is out of this absolute world. Here's the question I have. The last two. If there is anywhere, we obviously know that people know, they've heard that you are a gangster when it comes to restaurants. You have about 8 of them, 9 of them, right? But if there was one Mexican, if you had to like get your fix on going and having a nice taco or a pozole menudo, like, is there a spot that exists in Sacramento that you would go, or would you just eat at one of your spots?
I think the sometimes people ask me, how do you do it, right? And one of the reasons I visit my restaurants and eat the food is because I need to love the food that I'm serving. And if it's not the way that I like it, then I change it.
Yep.
And I love to visit my own restaurants. People ask me, what do you love to do for fun? And I love to, and my answer is literally visit restaurants. I love visiting restaurants, specifically new creative concepts, because I learn from them. But I love exploring food. I eat everything, right? And it's really challenging to say, which restaurant, which taco. It's kind of like the tequila thing.
Yep.
Because I believe
pick
it
a favorite,
depends on
yeah.
the moment, the time, and what you're trying to achieve, right? If you want a romantic dinner, you go here. But if it's a taco, I recently went to my 35-year reunion, high school reunion, last weekend, and they brought a taco truck, and they had the choices of burrito, quesadilla, tacos de cabeza, and one other thing. And everybody went for the burrito, the quesadilla, and I think they had one other taco option. I think I was the only one that went for the tacos de cabeza.
Yeah.
Because I know, right? They're delicious. After everybody saw and
They all
asked me, they all went back to get the tacos de cabeza, and they all told me how delicious they were.
Yeah.
After I told them,
Yep.
after they saw me, because they all
Sounds
know
right.
the restaurants, so they all went back for the tacos de cabeza
That sounds right.
because it's a delicacy.
So the answer is he's a man of the people. He's not going to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
He eats
He
everywhere.
gave me such a politically correct answer. Okay, then we'll end on this. If there's one restaurant that you can think of in the greater Sacramento area that's not even Mexican restaurant,
Yeah.
that you look at and you're like, man, this is a good restaurant that I can go to and tell the people about, what would that restaurant be?
I love traditional restaurants. I love traditional customer service. I love to be taken care of when I go out to dine. I love, the classic restaurant. I come from Napa Valley, where it's white tablecloth, elevated restaurants, and I love Hawk.
Oh, I didn't think he was going to answer, by the way.
I didn't think he was going to
I
answer.
wasn't. Hey, the politically correct. He was like, I was like, you're talking about
I
Olive
thought
Garden,
about-
aren't you?
I Olive Garden, you said?
No, he was joking.
They have
But
good bread.
you know what? I used
Thank
to
you,
love
Olive
Olive
Garden, for the
Garden
bread.
in college, because they would say, you know what? When you come here, you're just like family or something. They're slow. But you can eat all the soup and salad you wanted. I loved it. But you know what? I just love the detail that they
Love
put
that answer.
into
love
their
that answer.
into everything they do, from ironing their tablecloths.
Yeah.
Right? They iron their tablecloths.
Yeah.
I love that old style service.
Yeah.
I'm an old restaurateur guy.
Hawk
My-
is amazing, by the way.
Love Hawk, yeah.
My favorite book is called Restaurant Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you haven't read it and you're interested in the restaurants and restaurant culture, it's called Restaurant Man.
Mm-hmm.
I learned so much from that book.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Nice.
it teaches you the old ways, because Restaurant Man is by Joe Bastiani's from New York, but he learned from his father, who was a old school guy, you know, and learned the tricks and the knowledge of making a restaurant successful.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Rene's got some. What practice you got tonight?
Trey's practice, and I'm running it.
I mean,
so
this
gotta
dude
get
right
it.
here, man, he's the father of the year right
I'm
here.
not even the coach. I just am filling in. So
with just the immense amount of love. Chad
Seriously.
Hodges, Ernesto Delgado. We are so fired up that you guys
Thank
came on
you.
here tonight.
Thank you.
I can't
Thank
even
you.
say enough good things about both of you guys. We love you guys, and until we meet again, we're gonna go to Mexico next year. I know that.
I love that.
So
idea.
we're gonna
Let's do
sign,
that.
seal, deliver that.
Yeah.
Ernesto, you are an absolute beauty, and
you.
man, thank you for today.
you.
Thanks for
Yeah.
for all
real.
those
Thank you, man.
amazing orders of incredible food from Oaxaca. If you're listening to this, get your ass down to
Go
North
to Oaxaca
North Oak
now.
Park.
Yeah.
Come to Oaxaca. Order everything on the menu, and
You will
tell,
not be
some mezcal.
disappointed.
tell them that Chris
And
and
some
Rene,
mezcal.
Chris and Rene and Chad sent you. And until we meet again, we're out.
We're out.
Here's to Legacy Lounge. Salud.
Salud.